we're going to go ahead and get started. All right. First of all, thanks everybody for coming. We purposely, if we don't have enough seats, you can sit here. We didn't put anything right here because we are filming this. This is part of a Zoom meeting, and this mic right here is so sensitive. If you sit here, it will hear you breathe. So we kind of, space things out. But if you want to, one of you can sit here on the corner. First of all, it's nice to be back having live meetings again. Thanks for coming out for our Tech Exec meetings. We got a great program here today. A few years ago, when I started this position, I went to RSA, which is the largest cybersecurity conference in the world. It's out in San Francisco. I was part of the state delegation, and we kept hearing about University of North Georgia, University of North Georgia, University of North Georgia. So me and the guy who does my role, but on the state level, who oversaw the cyber programs, he was like, I think we need to go up to University of North Georgia, And so Bryson, a lot of people don't know, but was building a wonderful program, and the word was getting out. And to the point that Randall and I went up and visited with him and saw what was going on. This was the second year they did the Code Breakers Challenge. I'm not going to talk about that. Bryson wants to talk about it. Chris wants to talk about it. Everybody wants to talk about it. But that one event is really putting University of North Georgia on the map. It's part of your presentation, right, Chris? Okay. Yeah, I don't want to steal anybody's thunder, but let's just say we are getting international exposure for what they've been doing for the last few years. To the point that people were coming to the booth and asking, like, can you make introductions to us at University of North Georgia? So first of all, I did not plan this way. When Chris and I got together to talk about doing the programming, today is Veterans Day. And so we do have a retired colonel. So thank you for your service. I want to get that out on the table for you. Hey, I went to Reinhardt College, and so we went up to, there was a whole group of us went up to watch a soccer match. And I was born and raised in this area, so I knew about North Georgia College. I knew it was military college. You go there, it's a military college, and I think it's 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. They, and that was cool. Everybody get up, but they did not tell me about the cannon, and I was sitting very close to the cannon, and I almost came out of my skin when that thing came out. That's what I remember every time I go to University of North Georgia now. Anyway, we could not do these meetings without the help of our sponsors. So I'm going to ask Steve with Logic IT, Team Logic IT. He is our new sponsor. He came on board this week, and we're able to do this because of the generosity of people like Steve. So I'm going to ask Steve to come up and give us a quick overview of what Team Logic is. Come on up, Steve.
So I won't take too long. Since I'm new to Tech Execs, I'm the newest member, I think, to Tech Execs. So that's pretty neat. So I'll give a quick minute about who I am and my background, and I'll tell you a little bit about Team Logic IT. So I spent the last decade in technology management and consulting for Xerox, Verizon, and then most recently, I ran T-Mobile's government program. So all the hotspots that were in schools and everything that happened during COVID was something that I ran for Georgia. And so after that, I bought the franchise rights to bring Team Logic IT to Forsyth County. So we opened up about 6 months ago, and I brought Team Logic IT to Forsyth County. And Team Logic IT is the #1 managed service provider in the world, according to Channels Futures. And so they're IT managed service provider, cybersecurity, management of co-management of IT environments, because they have 240 locations. They do really well with different cities and different things like that. And so there's over 1,000 engineers, 240 locations, and they have a great reputation ahead of them. So I brought that to Forsyth County. I love the vision. I love what you guys are doing here. I'm excited to sponsor it. I want to be the IT company in Forsyth County. So that's kind of my goal. And so this will be a great,
Perfect.
program for me. Thanks.
I'm going to send the registration around. If you don't mind, as the program goes, just pass this along. check your name. I forgot to do that as y'all were coming in. I got busy talking. So, not surprising. Now I'm going to ask Steve from University of North Georgia to come up, and he's going to talk about the programs. This is a different location. I was really, really worried. Luckily, that wasn't the issue this morning, but I was afraid, that I called Jason to see if we could do this over at their big building, but they're so packed and slammed over there. There was no space. I called Steve. Steve's running the programs up here. I was like, do we have space? And he said, yeah, we got space here. So my biggest worry, you all got an email this morning, just as a reminder, come to Cumming City Hall, because a lot of people, unless you're in the program, you don't know about it, but they do host programs up here. So Steve's going to tell us about those programs for just a little bit.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. Thank you all for being here. It's great to have everybody up here at the University of North Georgia City Hall campus, right? We're 5 campuses, but then we have a couple of small little satellite campuses off of those as well. Jason Pruitt is our executive director on the Cumming campus right there off of Pilgrim Mill, next to the Aquatic Center. And I am the director of our graduate programs in the College of Business. So Jason deals with everything. I deal with our graduate programs in the College of Business. And so again, thank you all for being here. As you can see, we have these different programs within the College of Business at the graduate level. We have our MBA, we have our Master of Accountancy. We have 3 different certificates at the graduate level as well: cybersecurity, technology leadership, and entrepreneurship and innovation. And this time next year in the fall, we'll have a master's degree in computer science with a couple of different focus areas as well. So we're not able to technically advertise for that program yet because it hasn't received Board of Regents approval yet, but that's coming. We'll have that in the very near future. And so excited to have that as a program and another feather in our cap as far as being able to compete with the other universities in the state. So again, thank you all for being here. And there's some information up here if you want that about our programs. And I also do have some other program information about all of our graduate programs at the University of North Georgia, which there's quite a few. I think there's 27 right now, full programs at UNG, some online and some on campus programs. So with that, though, I want to take the time to introduce our speaker who you came here to see and hear from. So Chris Michener is the executive director of the Cybersecurity Institute at UNG, and we are extremely excited to have him on board with us. He has come from an extensive and decorated military career, as well as doing a lot of then afterwards consulting work where he was running some very successful businesses. And the way I understand it, he came here under some mentorship from one of his mentors. Said, you need to come to North Georgia, and we are really excited to have him here at UNG. And so Chris, I'll let you come up and talk to us about cybersecurity. Thank you.
Okay, just real quick for the eye patch, I may put it on and off. It freaks people out sometimes. It makes me feel comfortable, makes you feel uncomfortable. So that's just kind of first of all, please, I put a lot of cards up here. If you would please take one at the end, just because I haven't been able to give any out, and it makes me feel good when I see them disappear. I grew up around here, and I say that because I'm a 3rd generation North Georgia College graduate, or sorry, University of North Georgia College graduate. My parents went here, my parents' parents went here, and I claim Dahlonega as my home of record because when I joined, my father had been in the military for 30 plus years, and I had never spent more than 4 years at any one point in time at one place. So when I came back to Dahlonega, I fell in love with it. He talks about the duress I had. There was a mentor of mine at the time, Lieutenant General now, James L. Terry, retired. Phenomenal man who called me in Augusta and said, hey, Chris, I want you to come up here and do this job. And I said, hey, sir, I'm making a lot of money up down here in Augusta doing my thing. And he goes, no, you didn't hear me. So I said, yes, sir, you're right. I didn't hear you. So I came up here, interviewed, and then sold my business and came up here because the point that he sold me on is come up to the school and coach, teach, and mentor young men and women to be better than you were when you were in college. So if you can take yourself back to where you were in college, and some of the, don't say this, please, dumb things that we did, he said, hey, come help them round themselves out, make themselves more professional, educate them on cyber, even though that's mainly Dr. Payne's job. Help them, develop them to become a better version of you. And that's what sold me to come back here. I did a couple years in the military. And then, as you said, I got out, went to Augusta, started a business working with NSA and Cyber Command, and then did some other things with those very same organizations. Saw some gaps in what they were doing, and then got out of that and then tried to fill those gaps in my own business process. And then I was kind of talking to General Terry about it, and he goes, that's exactly what we need in North Georgia. So it was kind of building a better professional, maturing a student to understand and how not to make those immediate mistakes, but take a more mature, broad approach to being a better person. And again, that's what drew me back to Dahlonega. So I had to fight my wife, but I came back. And I'll fight my kids, but hopefully I'll get them back here as well. If you could go to the next slide, please. What you're going to see is kind of the draft vision and mission that we've begun to look for at the Institute. Just so you're very clear, the Institute is not a part of the academic credentialing side of the university. We are our, God, you freaked me out. There are our own, we're off kind of in an institute that was just named this summer. So it used to be the center, and before the center it was residing within the College of Business, which still kind of does based on university lines of understanding. And I'm going to ask for your help on a couple things. And I know this is more about informing you of where the university is going, so I'll start with that first. The university is trying to grow into this field. The NSA Codebreaker Challenge that Dr. Payne runs is just an example. He and his team are winning the NSA Codebreaker Challenge. As of this morning, I think Georgia Tech took the lead back, but they have won the previous 2 years of the NSA Codebreaker Challenge competition. I have no doubt that they'll do it again this year, and that will make 3 years in a row that the little university up here that I went to is now a nationally known entity within the NSA for pulling kids out who have an expertise in reverse engineering, mapping, and you name the cyber disciplines, that university up there has it. And I'm just happy to be a part of it. But here are the mission and vision. And the reason I would like your help on that is, to me, I think there's some stuff missing in there, and or we're too wordy, and or we're not appealing to the right audience. So I'm not asking for you now. Again, please take part. And if you can help me craft this to be a better thing that resonates with the audience on the left of that slide and the audience on the right of that slide, because that's who ultimately my task and purpose is to find. Obviously, yes, I want to grow the university. Obviously, yes, I want to make it world renowned. Obviously, those are things that are inherent in my task and purpose. However, if you look down here on the left, that's who we're trying to reach with the university. You know, the DoD, NSA, the other government agencies are what invested in the university that built our pipeline, or that are helping us build our pipeline. So there is some return on investment inherently that comes with that money. And I'm going to do my best to fulfill that requirement and obligation. So that's a kind of a long-term strategic look. But right now we have students who don't do that. And I will tell you, after coming through the UNG, and these are the tenets of the university, the cyber university, these are the tenets of the cyber university, there's this gap. And all of these students that are not going here are just kind of trickling off down there. Why? Because we can't find long-term strategic partnerships with institutions, with businesses. Believe it or not, that there's just not a courting. Everybody expects that student to go out and, you'll come to me. That's not happening. Unfortunately, but it's not happening. So how do we get this student awesome population to get into your realm of expertise? And it's education, it's internships, and I hate to say it, but it's true, it's funding. There's, leadership and advisement of young men and women from the junior year to the senior year, of inviting you up to the classroom, being a part of an institution day where we bring all the kids up to the convocation center, and you help them look at their resumes. You help them build a resume. You help them say, hey, this is what we see in the tech field right now. And you've got 2 years to go and figure it out within the university structure so that you're now more marketable when you get out. Because right now I got nothing but love for you, but you're not going to do anything in 2 years. So that's where I need your help, is to mission vision and help me build this bubble for the research and industry partners so that we as a university can give you what you want. The second thing is this right here. I went and talked with the Civil Air Patrol of LJ about 2 nights ago, and it was awesome. I will tell you, I was more energized coming out of that meeting. I could have talked for 4 hours, and I think they could have listened, and they were riddling me with questions, and it was a phenomenal time. But they need help at that high school level, mid 7th and 8th grade level. They need help to try and find themselves computers that they're looking for. They need help understanding what the world's going to look like. They don't know. And no one is telling them external from a school environment, because some of them don't have computers. Some of them don't have the luxury that we have in today's environment up in this very building. So I would ask, if you can, as a business entity and or as a person, reach out to some of these. See how you can get involved in Girl Scout troops. See how you can get involved in Boy Scouts. The Civil Air Patrol, I use an example, JROTC. They are there and they are looking for mentors, and they're looking for people like you and me to give back to them. Again, to go back to making them better than we were when we got to college. You'll see the Cyber Institute things, and this is part of that give back and find it, because we're trying to develop a pipeline of awesome young men and women who, even if they don't know and can't spell cyber, we're trying to get them into a pipeline to coach, develop, mentor them, make them more professional, and kick them out to the world and say, go be all you can be, and come back if you need help for grounding again. But right now, again, unfortunately, there's not a lot of those industry partners like yourself on that other end who are willing to sign up to come up to the university, to sit in on a CV resume writing, to sit in to coach, teach, and mentor young men and women within the cyber domain. And that's somewhat unfortunate, but it's appealing, and I need your help. Obviously, we're doing something potentially not in a good way, but there are opportunities. So I look at it as an opportunity to get better and help the youth of the generation that are going to take over for us, and ideally, hopefully me, 30 years, but maybe some of us earlier. But again, I'm impassioned about it. I like what I do. I love the university and the aspect that it's going in. The next 5 years will grow. We'll build out the Cyber Institute more. We'll look for NSA funding. We'll look for more funding to grow and to be able to build a bigger funnel into the university, to then subsequently build a bigger funnel out into the workforce of more professional individuals, because that's the ultimate goal. And we'll grow, and with your help, we'll grow even bigger. And I can talk for days, but I've been told I've got 20 minutes, so I'm gonna go back to my happy place. But if you got any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I do have to make a plug, and I don't know if Bryson would like to have it during his time, but an example for you of how the university is trying to enable is we're working with the FBI. The FBI and North Georgia are developing a cybersecurity threat business model. So it goes out, I believe, when does it go out?
In February.
In February, and it is a questionnaire of very simple tasks of, would you tell the FBI if you got hacked? Would you know if it was coming from a certain domain, i.e. China, Russia, whatever? How would it impact you if it did this, fill in a blank. But again, those types of things, while it may seem to you at first of, why am I paying attention to this? There are tangential effects that goes back to potentially someone in a classroom right now studying cyber in his freshman year who will say, hey, I've got this information. How can I build a better fill in the blank? So when I graduate, I can make my company, my future family more secure. So again, there are benefits, there are things to filling out a simple survey that, again, has the university and the GBI or FBI on it. There are reasons for it. So with that shameless plug, I'll ask if anybody has any questions. Yes, ma'am.
Are there any particular technologies that you're looking at? Because a stack in a company could be cloud native, it could be legacy, nobody's touched it in 30 years. Is there any affinity that you have for a particular type of technology, or is it just project?
In the classroom, though, we try to make the students technology agnostic for the most part. They can move into a mainframe legacy system for a financial institution or an insurance company and work in a cloud provider for more modern technologies. But we do have them work on just about every platform of virtualization out there, whether they're working with VMware and VirtualBox and Docker on their local workstations all the way to a cloud environment in Azure and AWS. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. I just wanted to know if there was any direction or more.
Well, honestly, one thing we're looking for that Chris is hoping to be able to help us out with is connect with businesses who have specific technologies. Like we have a good partner down at IBM now, who's actually on the Chris's board for our cyber advisory team. And we want to use some of the software that they would actually use on the job in not just IBM, but in dozens of other companies that IBM, of course, provides services for. So if your organization has access to software that either to help us get a really good educational discount, a licensing, or even an in-kind donation, we're always great to be able to.
And if you don't see your name over here on the left, just understand you could be up there on the left. Some of those are, again, DoD affiliations that I have from friends in low places that I have working internships and partnerships with that have already said that, yes, we'll take interns. So that's why you see them up on the board. But again, I could talk for hours and passionate about it, but my last words, if you would please sometime today find some young man or woman and pat them on the back if you see them having a veteran's hat on, and tell them thank you. And if you, sir, thank you very much for your time.
I have a question. And pre-COVID, Bryson and I were able to talk quite a bit. And then we got together last week or a few weeks ago, and he told me prior to you arriving. So it's easier to learn something when you don't know about it than it is to unlearn something that you hadn't known about. So I knew the college before the cyber program, before the institute. And so I'm having a hard time distinguishing what the institute is, because ultimately they've hired you to run the institute, correct?
Correct.
So tell me the difference between the cyber program and the institute and the college.
Okay, so the cyber part of the college is the degree granting side. So I do have anything I do with that is through Dr. Payne or through Dr. Gowan as the dean. So from the cyber educational standpoint, that would be Dr. Payne in the back. My job is to go find companies like yourself who may have new technology they're developing, and oh, by the way, you just want to throw that into a classroom full of students and say, hey, break it if you can. We're working with federal agencies as well as state agencies to enable certain software development to certain bad people, and how again, GBI, FBI goes about it. So again, and also part of what I see my job is help find them jobs when they graduate. Quit to trickle back into the environment around you, but have them get out into places like the country of Georgia, where I know the U.S. ambassador, and we just had a conversation a couple of days ago about trying to get a UNG student in his embassy. You know, build broader links to the external community. I know friends in California at Seagate. I know friends in Boston and IBM. I know. So again, what part of my goal is to get that out, get the young men and women out of the bubble of North Georgia, and have them see the world and realize that they can make an impact regardless of where they are. So thank you for that. Oh. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, and my name's Holly Dale, and I work with a company here in Atlanta called Grade Shift. And 3 weeks ago, I was in Maryland recruiting at Johns Hopkins, UNBC, and then I did a recruiting at Jailbreak Brewery. If you're familiar with that, but former 3 NSA agents created this, and it's.
I'm aware of it.
And it makes me happy to know that you have this meeting, because this is exactly the caliber of candidate that I'm recruiting, whether it's through internship, their journey through college, and then after college. So I'm going to be very happy to partner with you and see how both myself, my team, as well as our company can support the work that you're doing. We have a large team of researchers that do all of reverse engineering on iOS and Android devices. And we probably have some of the best minds working for us. And I would love to also see how they can get involved with mentoring. It's a very specific skill set. I know when I'm trying to find the talent, it's very limited. But also being able to develop and help with their resume, how to interview, what to look for, in their jobs. If we're not able to do it, we just want to make sure that we're giving back to those students, preparing them, because they have amazing careers ahead of them.
And thank you for saying that. Absolutely. I'm sure Dr. Payne could go on and on about young men and women that he has seen in his classroom that are able to do some phenomenal things on a computer and or a piece of software that would scare me. But great.
I like to teach them how to negotiate for salaries too. I have 23-year-olds that I make regular offers. They're making high 6 figures. High 6 figures.
Again, if there's any other questions, I'll be here until we're finished, and I would love to talk to anybody. And again, if you'd like to ask a technical question to Dr. Payne back there, I'm sure you can answer. But again, we're here to help from the local side all the way up to the international. And please, we're just up to help. So if you need something, let me know. Thank you.
So we're not done. But that is the program that we have. But we really, the whole reason that we do this for Tech Exec is for you guys to interact. And we're trying to build. Before COVID, we had anywhere from 40 or 50 people. Of course, we got into Zoom meetings and we had smaller turnouts. We're building the program back. But, when we put this together, everybody said, we want more than just a networking meeting. So as when Steve was up here, I was thinking about 2 or 3 people in the room. That's probably his target. Well, there's probably 3 or 4 of you, I know you, or at least on some level, and know that, there's business that you can do together. We're trying to build this program back. So when I send you an invite, typically this is invitation only. We want people that, again, we want people to come here and like minds and build a program back. So when I send something to you, if they're working in tech, please send that out, or actually send me their email address if you want me to invite somebody and add it to the list. I have about 156 people that we invite to, but I want you to take the rest of the few minutes that we're here and meet each other, talk, do business, do whatever you can. But I wanted to share why this program is important to me. And when I was at RSA and was hearing about Bryson and the program that UNG was building, we have an incredible asset. Now, if you don't know the story, but I forget how long ago, Bryson, you can stop me if I go askew anywhere, Chris. But I don't want to misrepresent anything, but the state of Georgia about, I don't know, 10 years ago, basically gave almost $100 million to build the, the Georgia Cyber Center in Augusta, Georgia. And, you know, when we were talking, Bryson and I, pre-COVID a lot, you know, there were a lot of students leaving here and going down there. Well, my whole thing, because I recruit industry, my sole job is to recruit technology companies, because we've got about 80,000 people that live in Forsyth County that leave every morning and go to the higher wage jobs in Fulton County. And our whole reason to recruit technology companies is we know that over half of those that are leaving are working in, at least driving to industries that we would consider tech or tech related. And so by recruiting more tech industry here, we stop that outflow. People can live, work, and they don't sit on, you know, the first hour and the last hour of their day on 400. So my job is to recruit industry. I have a dream in doing this and partnering with Chris and Bryson and Jason and Steve and all the rest of the folks at University of North Georgia, because we are becoming internationally known as the best cyber education in the world. And it's because of the work that you guys are doing. But with all the investment that's going towards Augusta, they have 2 military institutions and that down there, that building down there, that's recruiting the big companies. Well, they pretty much own the DoD side of cybersecurity. But where there's an opening for us from an industry standpoint is Alpharetta also has the reputation of being the fintech capital of the world. I just came back from Las Vegas 3 weeks ago it was called Money 2020. It's the largest fintech conference in the world. And a lot of people don't know it, but 1/3 of the Alpharetta zip code is actually in Forsyth County. And so what I have mentioned to Bryson and Jason and Chris is, you know, as a community of technology professionals, if we really wanted to go after, we don't want to compete with Augusta on the DoD side, but with the fact that we're here, we're part of the fintech capital of the world, we could really own what Chris's side, the private industry side of cybersecurity. You know, the FBI, the NSA, they're not the only ones that need cybersecurity. You've got World Bank, Fiserv, all of those companies, and all of their suppliers, and all of the companies that Slade and I are going to recruit to this area. They have just as much vested interest as any of those 3 other agencies. And so that's the long-term vision that we have for cybersecurity and building that program and helping Chris in accomplishing his goals. So, you know, this is sort of the kickoff to that. When I really wanted to introduce Chris to you guys. We're recording this. We've got a couple of people on there. This video of this meeting will go up. It'll stay on our chamber website for a few weeks. We'll promote it, but we'll probably have 50 or more people. But, you know, just let that sink in. And over the course of the next year, you know, I know all of you guys are doing some pretty amazing stuff. Thank you for what you're doing. Thanks for being a part of this group. You know, we'll close it out here, but I want you guys to stay and intermingle and talk and ask Chris questions, ask Bryson questions. If you know somebody that wants to do the master's program, talk to Steve. If you got students that live here, want to go, talk to Jason. But anyway, thank you for coming.